Oh, my name is Fika Mokwana. I'm the founder and owner of Trade and Investments. And today we're hosting a stakeholder engagement 2026. We are here at Serengeti Golf Estates. So all businesses, all sectors, we're coming under one roof. We're going to talk about the economic growth of South Africa. Because when we speak economic growth, we're talking about our struggles, we're talking about our businesses, we're talking about what is happening in our spaces, in our community. Because we're talking economic development, economic growth, economic freedom every day, but we don't see those things. So today we are saying one voice, different businesses coming together. Let's see, pave a way forward as to how can we incorporate ourselves with economic growth, because there is no growth at all. And small businesses, we've been small since our small. Even today we are still small, we are not growing. So if we are not growing, it means there is no economy that is growing within ourselves. So today we want to pave a way forward and see how can we collaborate, how can we bring back or work together to bring back economic development in our spaces. Like if you can check that there's this thing called township economy. What is township economy? I mean, we are excluding ourselves to the real economy. So I don't like the way the township economy, because number one, the infrastructure, we're having a serious problem with the infrastructure in our spaces. Number two, youth unemployment is very high. Quality education, nothing. Quality or health sector, nothing. So today we're going to speak about all those things. So we as businesses, we are coming today to collaborate as SDG, Sustainable Development Goals, says. Goal 17 come together. Goal 17 come together, and then we come up with a solution as to how can we pave a real economic development in our spaces.
Shende to come in front and open with a prayer for us.
Amen.
Amen.
Greetings to everyone. Amen.
Amen.
Before I enter here, I'm Apostle Shembe. I'm from this party. It's Melaba Fundis. It's MK Interreligious Movement, because we have come with a different thought. That is why we are here to business. So we represent everyone, everywhere. Before I pray, you know the problem in our churches, they said they want money, but they don't teach us how to make money. That's the biggest problem. So now, MKP said, as pastors, MKIRM, we need to go to teach people how to make money in our churches, for them to give in our churches. Yes. How can you want money to somebody that doesn't have money? Teach somebody to fish.
Yeah.
You must not give him money. That is why they said a poor person is somebody who's a Christian. Why I'm saying that? They only take, they don't tell you how to make money. We always, I'm a pastor, I'm an apostle. We always pray and have hope, but we don't have a way to make money. That is why in our churches we must create businesses for us to go and get money and give for those who doesn't have money. Everyone here, if you want to be successful, foundation God, and then business.
Yeah.
If God is not there, the business, sorry, something, the stress will come for you. Let me read something here. That is why we're saying, as MKIRM, we're saying we need to teach as churches, to teach people how to make money inside the church. You can't say to me, come and give me money, 350. that means you are adding poverty to me. I must take that 250 and go and buy something and sell and make another man to give to somebody. Hallelujah. Amen. Somebody is hearing me. Psalms 89, verse number 13. Never undermine the power and the strength of God. The Lord has ability to act in any situation. No problem or issue is too great for him to handle, to remind yourself of his strength and his ability to protect and provide you. Ayiko into there's nothing if you take your business and put it to the hands of God, not in your mind or your knowledge, but to God, that business will flourish. That is why we are here as a NKIRM. Yes, we've got strategies, we've got what, but to each and everything, God first. Even you don't know how to pray, but those two words, they make a magic. Those two words in your business, and say, God, as I'm going to go and sell and whatsoever, be with me. God has heard you by saying that. I'm going to pray, and God bless each and every one that is here. Even the one that is there is going to start a business. God, let it, I reach, I'm a businessman, my God, and go and give to the churches. Yes, stay in the church. I'm not saying go out to the church. Stay in the church. Be a businessman and also teach others how to make money in the church. When I come as a bishop and said, I want this, I know that already I teach you how to make money. Because we want what? Money. Can I pray? Lord, in the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, we thank you. We are your children. We are here, we are saying, Lord, bless each and every one. Bless that mind, bless that heart, bless that business in the mighty name of our Lord Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Protect them, Lord, in the name of Jesus, in whatsoever your children that they are doing. I know you are God, you are almighty, and you are with us each and every day. Amen. Amen. There is something that we're saying before you say. I'm saying to you, it's a slogan that I want to go with it. When I say Aichukucha, I'm saying your Aichukucha, even they said Aichukucha is to dance, Isn't so? So you must go and your chukucha with your business. Go and chukucha with your money. Because you can't chukucha without money. You can't live a good life without what? Without money. Aichukucha, businessman, Aichukucha. Businessman, Aichukucha. Thank you, MC, and God bless you. Yeah.
Because we say thank you that we are alive, and we say thank you that we are here today, and it is all because God said you are allowed to.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. Oh, that was powerful. I took a jump. The next person that I'm going to call on stage is the person who has brought us here today. I'm going to call a phenomenal lady. This woman she sleeps, breathes business. And not just business, but I always call her a multi-plug, because wherever she goes, she plugs somebody in. Wherever she is, if you see her, she's not alone. She is with somebody that she has plugged. And yeah, it's giving me goosebumps, because she's opened doors for me that I never thought would be possible. So if you are also sitting here because she's held your hand, or she's opened the door, or she's shown you a connect, or she said, go speak to that one, just know that she is who she is because she was meant to be in that space. And it's not by mistake that you are here today. You are here because you've spent your money, and you are here because you've said, I want to connect and I want to meet other business people, and I want to relax. Yeah, I know I'm in heels, but I am relaxed. So this woman that I'm going to call here, she is the founder and the CEO of GATA LENNA2026, and she is the reason, again, we are all here. Sis Figa Mokon. guys.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. Wow. Thank you, colleagues. We are honored to have you here today. My name is Fika Mokwana. I am a Tembisa. I was born in Tembisa. Catalina Trade and Investment was born in Tembisa. So today has grown up. I'm happy to see Catalina that is hosting a Serengeti estate.
Yeah.
Wow, can you come because you know we've been small. That is why I decided to say let's have a stakeholder engagement in terms of economic growth. Because we've been small. Every time wherever we go, we are small. So when is our economy growing? Because you know if you are raised in township, all the time they are saying township economy. And then I was asking myself, why township economy? Why township economy? Because now I'm 55 years old. I've been small since my business has been small. So now I'm 55 young, then I'm small. So it means now even if you are 55 years, then you are small. Because now my business is still small. We can't grow. So it's a pity that our economy has been handled by, 1994 we thought South Africa now we won the economic freedom, but nothing as yet because we are still struggling, we are still hustling. So before I went long, I just want to welcome everyone who is here, our speakers, our keynote address. We are so happy to see you, Tate Mofokeng, and all of you, different organizations from different sectors. So Catalina, it's a township business, but then we also do consulting in human resources. We do human resources, but we specialize a lot on hospitality and tourism. And today we said let's come together and so that we must talk about economic growth. And then where are we going with this economic development that we are seeing today? Because all the monies were spent, we are watching Madlawa, we are at hoc committee, all the monies were gone. But you can tell that our businesses, our small businesses are going younger and younger. A lot from our speakers, we're all going to speak today. We need to get a directive and a way forward at the end of the day today. So I would like to say thank you all. We are here. Please enjoy. And then, yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Catalina has grown, eh? The person I'm going to be calling now is our keynote speaker, Mr. Gregory Mofokeng. So Mr. Gregory Mofokeng is the Vice President of an organization that is a business, He is the Vice President of Organized Business and CEO of the Black Business Council in the built environment. He represents the Black Business Council and the NEDLAC and also participates in the BRICS Business Council Infrastructure Working Group. He's contributing to a national and international discussions on the infrastructure development and economic growth. Mr. Mofokeng also serves on the CIDB National Stakeholders Forum and chairs several investment and construction-related companies. Ladies and gentlemen, help us welcome Mr. Gregory Mofokeng.
I spoke to the lady outside. I can't remember the Black Business Council to come and talk. I'm not prepared. You can go from the heart. But I need to refer to my notes. So please, as they are making a plan, I will proceed just to save time. Colleagues, a very good morning to you. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning. We are here. We are here. We are here. let me take this opportunity to thank Mefi Kamukwan for extending an invitation to us as the Black Business Council to come and present a few ideas and our thoughts to you around a very important topic. And the question that Katarina posed was, how do we advance socio-economic transformation and inclusive growth in order to reduce high unemployment as well as inequality in South Africa? It's quite a bulky question. And the answer is not simple. But we will attempt to share with you our thoughts as to how we can achieve this. Thank you very much, my brother. We always need your prayers, especially where we are as a country. Some of these things are beyond us. Yes, no, we do. So, colleagues, just to start off, I think it's very important to unpack these two concepts. Firstly, the socio-economic transformation. What do you mean by socio-economic transformation? And secondly, to unpack the inclusive growth concept. What do we mean by that? What do we mean by inclusive growth? Because people just like to talk, say inclusive growth, the economy must accommodate all of us. But what does it really mean? Let's define these things so that as we get to understand what the unemployment situation looks like, what our inequality looks like, at least conceptually we understand what we're talking about. And then get to the solutions as to where do we think some of these solutions lie. In terms of socio-economic transformation, the definition there is as follows. Socio-economic transformation is the fundamental structural change in an economic systems, ownership patterns, and social institutions to reduce inequalities and promote inclusive growth. It focuses on shifting economic activity towards manufacturing, services, technology, etc., while empowering historically disadvantaged communities through various instruments such as land reform, job creation, skills development, and economic empowerment. So this is the definition of socio-economic transformation. Let's look at the definition of inclusive growth. Inclusive growth is a model of economic development that ensures growth is sustainable, rapid, and shared by all, not just a few elites. Let's repeat that. Inclusive growth is a model of economic development that ensures growth is sustainable, rapid, and shared by all, not just a few elites. It goes beyond just increasing GDP to actively reduce poverty, inequality, and unemployment by expanding access to opportunities, education, and productive jobs for the entire labor force. This is the definition of inclusive growth that we will defer to today. Now, the question was, let's look at economic growth, inclusivity, let's look at socio-economic transformation, and understand how we can then utilize those to try and address issues of high unemployment as well as inequality. So what is our situation right now when it comes to our unemployment situation in South Africa? So according to Stats SA, Q4 2025, so that's quarter 2025, that's the last quarter of the previous year. Our unemployment rate dropped to 31.4%, which was slightly down from 31.9%, which was registered in quarter 3 of 2020, according to Stakeholder. So according to this information, we now have 7.8 million people that remain unemployed, who are supposed to be employed. 7.8 million people. Yes, we added about 44,000 jobs, driven through sectors like community services, construction, and finance. If one looks at the expanded unemployment rate, that one stands at 42.1%, And this includes what we generally refer to as discouraged work seekers. So this is the expanded definition of our unemployment rate. The picture gets very dire when we look at youth unemployment. These are our youth between the ages of 15 and 24. The unemployment rate there remains high at 57%. Bachabaru, who are supposed to be gainfully employed, who are supposed to be earning an honest living, 57% of them are sitting at home. That is the reality that we are living in as South Africans. And if one zooms into the provinces, Eastern Cape and Northwest have the highest concentrations of unemployment. This is the situation of unemployment in our country. What is the situation when it comes to inequality? South Africa is the world's most unequal country, with the Gini coefficient of roughly 0.67 to 0.68, where 10%, please listen to this carefully, where 10% of the population controls over 80% of the wealth. 10% of the population controls over 80% of the wealth. That's why we're an unequal society. Despite the end of apartheid, deep inequalities persist along racial, spatial, and gender lines, driven by high unemployment, education gaps, and unequal asset ownership. Asset ownership. When you don't own assets, how na balance sheet? When you don't have a balance sheet, nobody wants to do anything with you. Now they are buying game and want to raise money. They ask you, how much do you have? That's balance sheet. If you don't own assets, you don't have a balance sheet. If one looks at this through the race and income lens, inequality remains highly racialized, with black South Africans disproportionately represented among the poor, although intraracial inequality among black South Africans has increased. So some amongst us have become very rich, whilst others remain very, very, very poor. And then those, they are here, they segregate. We're going to be bumping into them. Beyond us. So we are not going to look at the issue of inequality and just compare blacks to whites. Amongst us as black people, also but the question is, what are they doing with that wealth to make sure that the rest of us come along? We must come along. We must come along. So the question is, those amongst us who today are now considered billionaires, multi-millionaires, what are they doing with their balance sheet, with their wealth, to make sure that we address this issue of inequality? And then the picture gets a bit murky as well when you look at this issue through a gender gap. Women earn on average 30% less than men in similar positions. Why? Why is that so? If we're in similar positions, why are women earning less? Because that also adds to the picture of inequality. So those issues must also be addressed. Now the question is, what then should be our response? And I want to propose two approaches this morning to you colleagues. But the first response will be what I consider constitutional, legislative, and policy response. And the second response will be what I consider a cognitive response. Let's zoom into the constitutional response, because I agree we are saying that this country has got a constitution. And so we believe in our constitution. This is the constitution that has birthed this nation. So if we're looking for answers beyond prayers, then we let the constitution include. Now, what does the foundation of this democratic state of ours say about these issues? Now I want to go to the constitution, because some amongst us like to cherry pick the constitution so that it can support their point of argument and forget about the other areas of the constitution that cater for all of us. What does this constitution say? In the preamble, it says, we, the people of South Africa, Rona, we, the people of South Africa, recognize the injustices of the past, believe that South Africa belongs to all who live in it, united in our diversity. We therefore, through our freely elected representatives, adopt this constitution as the supreme law of the Republic, so as to improve the quality of life of all citizens and free the potential of each person. The constitution, not constitution Zimbabwe, not constitution USA. It says we must improve the quality of life of all citizens and free the potential of each person. How are we freeing the potential of our youth when 57% of them are sitting at home unemployed? The preamble clause, it says, may God protect our people. Nkosi sibelele Africa. Morena boloka setjhaba sa heso. God bless Africa. Get it. Now, what may God protect those with assets. I want to know, may God protect those who have got jobs and are driving around in fancy cars. It says, may God protect our people.
Yeah.
So we must be protected, all of us, notwithstanding our socio-economic status. This is the guarantee that the Constitution gives us. The Bill of Rights goes on further. Chapter 2 of that Constitution talks about equity. Section 9 is all about equity. So when we say that we need to advance programs such as affirmative action and BBBE, which today is being demonized, those programs are based on what the Constitution says. Because Section 9 of the Constitution says you are allowed to redress. You are allowed to fix what went wrong in the past. You are allowed to do so. And Section 9 gives you the right to introduce these pieces of legislation, which today are under attack. Because in order to fix, you must recognize, as the Constitution says, we are recognizing the injustices of the past. But others know, but no, it's now 30 years, we must not forget about the whole thing then. Now the playing field is leveled. And we know it is not. Because from the communities where we come from, we know Matata and Mangata. So we cannot be told at this juncture, oh no, all is well. No, not all is well. And that is why these provisions of the Constitution that talks about equity and redress must now be prioritized, so that we can then be able to deal with issues of high unemployment as well as inequality. That section permits us to introduce legislation and other measures designed to protect or advance persons disadvantaged by unfair discrimination in the past. This is what we call the redress provision, which is the constitutional foundation of policies such as affirmative action and BBBE. Therefore, it is unconstitutional to make compliance with this kind of law voluntary. Let me repeat that. It is unconstitutional to then say these laws that are supposed to fix what happened in the past are voluntary. No, well, you can, if you feel like it, no, you can comply with this law or not. The Constitution does not say, or this equity section of the Constitution, and when you have a choice whether to comply with it or not. No, it does not give you that exit clause. So when we make the laws that bring Section 9 into life, we cannot then say those laws are voluntary. It must be mandatory, because that's what the Constitution says. Unless you are unconstitutional yourself. If we all believe that the Constitution is the foundation of this democratic government, we must all abide by the Constitution. And the Constitution does not say BBB will be voluntary or equity laws will be voluntary. It does not give you that exit clause. So as government makes laws, we must watch. If there is an exit clause there that says, no, you have a choice whether to abide by this law or not, we must challenge it. So we have every right, constitutionally, to bring about legislation that will address meaningful participation, especially of black people in the economy. And that's why I'm focusing on one of those two pieces of legislation for now, which is affirmative action and BBB. So we don't have an option not to implement those laws effectively. In fact, that's why we must always nudge government to say those who don't comply with these pieces of legislation, there must be consequence management. We have to demonstrate that we are serious about making sure that everybody has an opportunity to meaningfully participate in the economy. Whether you want to be employed or whether you want to run a business, the environment must be conducive. And when we talk about the environment, we're talking about you operating in an environment that has got policies that support you. An environment is influenced by policies. An environment is influenced by legislation. So we must make sure that these policies, this legislation that supports the environment is, in the end, going to assist us to address the challenges that we have in our society. Now, one of the biggest levers in which we can drive transformation is through government procurement. Government is the single largest procurer of services in the country. And so we must not be shy to say, government, as it gets spent, we must see it translating into economic transformation on this side. We cannot be shy about that. Now, those who don't like that will then go to the Constitution and quote it. So there's a section in the Constitution. Chapter 13 deals with finances. It's section 217. It deals with procurement of government. It has got 3 subsections. The first one says, as government procures, it must do so in a fair, equitable, transparent, competitive, and cost-effective manner. Those who don't want transformation end there. No, that's it. Because then you'll see other remedies that are there. Now let me remind you of these remedies. Subsection 2 says, organs of state must provide for categories of preference in the allocation of contracts and the protection of advancement of persons or categories of persons disadvantaged by unfair discrimination. So once again, the Constitution recognizes that there were those who are still suffering discrimination. And so, as you go out, government, to procure, make provision for them. And subsection 3 of that clause, in the Constitution, when I quote the Constitution, the real Constitution, it says, national legislation must prescribe a framework within which the policy referred to in subsection 2, which I just told you, must be implemented. So the Constitution does not say, no, it's just a nice thing to have. It directs government to say, you will also introduce legislation to make sure that this happens. So government does not have a choice but to come up with the legislation that will ensure that all of us have an opportunity to participate. So that law, today as we stand here, is what we call the triple PFA. Because it has not been repealed. And the reason why it has not been repealed is because government is still busy with the regulations of a new law that the President has already signed into law, but it has not yet come into effect, called the Public Procurement Act. The Public Procurement Act can come into being so that we can then utilize government expenditure to transform. The president has promised to 40% of procurement. It is not going to happen if the regulations are not there.
Yeah.
President Chabaruna, meaningful participation in the economy. It is not going to happen if the regulations are not there. Because everything that we do, especially with regards to government, must be through legislation and policy. So what I'm saying to you, colleagues, is that one of the things that you must spend your time doing is to participate meaningfully in the legislative and policy-making process. Because if you don't, people are going to decide on your behalf. They will decide on your behalf, but how is this economy going to transform, or how it is going to operate? So it is important for you to have an interest in how legislation is crafted in this country and how policies are decided in this country. So when it comes to meaningful economic transformation and using government expenditure and investment in the economy to transform the economy, the Constitution supports that 110%. There is no any other law that is above this one, constitutionally speaking. So we must be serious about these issues, colleagues. And so when BBB is being criticized, when government procurement is criticized every day, and we can see that yes, there are elements of corruption, but that does not mean, or now, in a wholesale manner, black people must now be disregarded. It doesn't mean that. How many rogue elements? Let's deal with the rogue elements. But how much hard? But how about the rest of us must still try our best. But the environment must be conducive. So that as we sit here, it's about no. Government into Aditwa, we all have a fair chance of participating. Ban manipulator system, let's deal with them. So we cannot be part and parcel of the chorus, the radio stations and TV programs every day, and say this BBB is bad. We cannot be. Because what do we have left?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing. The status quo remains. Tembisa remains Tembisa. Serengeti remains Serengeti. Back in. I often make this example that in the early 90s, democracy it was very easy to move from Soweto to Senti. You can't. You cannot. Because the jump is too high. A piece of property in Senti, if you get anything below 10 million, you are lucky. When you are not meaningfully participating in the economy. So that is why we must be extra careful as we criticize the laws. These laws are meant for us to benefit. And if there's anything wrong with the law, let's fix it. Let's not throw it out and say this law does not work. In fact, we rather have nothing. Apartheid was better. That's wrong. Because the United Constitution, that forces government to do something about our situation. So that's why we need to focus our energies there. I don't know how many of you have traveled the continent. And it's very funny because we are the most industrialized economy on the continent. But we are the most unequal. Not only on the continent, but globally. Now you ask yourself, no, but I've been to poorer countries. How to border this inequality? No, they are high. Now the most industrialized economy on the continent, there's a problem with you. Because we're not 10% controlling the majority of the wealth. And the rest are here. If you go beyond our borders, the reason why inequality is not as high is because finally access to land. Mutu ukghona hore a be le land, a plante aje. More, how kgone planta, how kgone ja, because Tembisa, the stand size is too small. So what must we do? Temno rufe grant for you to sustain your life. The reason why other countries don't have a problem of inequality is because they've got access to land. Habalabi. So again, we look at the Constitution. What does the Constitution say about the issue of land? and I'll read section 25 of the property clause. It says, no one may be deprived of property except in terms of law of general application. And no law may permit arbitrary deprivation of property. This is the Constitution. It goes on to say, property may be expropriated only in terms of law of general application. A, for a public purpose or in the public interest, and subject to compensation, the amount of which and the time and manner of payment of which have either been agreed to by those affected or decided or approved by a court. It goes on to say, for the purposes of this section, the public interest includes the nation's commitment to land reform and to reforms to bring about equitable access to all South Africa's natural resources. And property is not limited to land. So if you listen to this, it does not end and say just have access to land. It also talks about the natural resources. The diamonds are gold, platinum. This is what this clause means. Finally, it says the state must take reasonable legislative and other measures within its available resources to foster conditions which enable citizens to gain access to land on an equitable basis. Now, he's also a balance sheet. And this is not a populist call, it's in the Constitution. It's here, in the Constitution. So these are the institutional levers that are available for us to work with, to ensure that we deal with the issue of inequality, and to also meaningfully address the issue of high unemployment. Because we must have channels to push back into for them to be busy with their lives. We can't have idle minds and idle energy sitting in our townships, in our rural areas. We cannot. Something has to be done. But I'm saying to you, the foundation is already there. The legislative and policy environment is already there. Ours is to make sure that these things are meaningfully implemented. Now, I spoke to you earlier about the Public Procurement Act. That act is already there, signed. But you will be surprised that there are those in our country who are taking government to court to say, no, we don't want that piece of legislation. Yeah. Why? Because it's going to empower black people. That's the reason. A court would, as I speak to you now, solidarity is the court. If you ask them, why, but no, it's because this thing, it will empower black people. What is wrong with empowering black people? Because the Constitution says you must do so. But it's already in court. So those who are anti-transformation don't only tell you that they are anti-transformation, they are willing to fund their plans to make sure that transformation does not happen. The question is, what are we saying? The Constitution says we must freely elect them. It is them who must go and talk on our behalf. So we must now be careful now. Revote la boma. Because if we revote la wrong, black people are just fine. No, they're okay. There's no need for you to do anything. Our people are all right. When we are not all right, when we are not okay, in fact, the DA says, no, black people must just, no, man. But forget about the issue of the economy. Yes, they have introduced something called the Public Procurement Amendment Bill. Please go and read it. Go and read it. Sky Kafela light. But no, this thing is going to fix, but no, the economy might be okay. No, it's not going to fix. The factories will still be owned by the same people. Those who command the height of the economy will remain in place. All of us must just go there and take our labor. That is what the amendment is saying. So we must be careful about the people that we are saying must go and represent us. When the people are saying this, the black people must go and announce this thing. When you look at the press conference, I said this is continue the business that they've been doing as a family for 100 years. Because the law says so. And they're not going to be shy to show you the law. Don't think they're going to be shy. Huh? They will show you the law. So be careful as to who you appoint as your representative to go and make laws. Because those laws we get subjected to. has a president that's signing. So, colleagues, it's very important that we use the laws to our advantage, because the Constitution says so, and the laws are there. Now, those who are not implementing the laws to the extent that we need to benefit, we must also not be shy to say, no, we are going to do something about it. There must be consequence management. There has to be consequence management. You cannot sit and stay there and have the powers to do something about our situation and then we don't do anything about it. There must be consequence management. There are many ways of doing this, and in the interest of time, I want to say to you, we must also have the appetite to take government to court. We must develop the appetite to take government to court. Go back and fix it. Where? More, our Constitution says we shall be empowered. That's our Constitution. How do I check it out? All of a sudden, no. How do I check it? No, man. The beneficiaries are no longer South African. The beneficiaries are people from outside. When we are supposed to be first in line. So we must address this pandemic. And we're not going to be accused of xenophobia here. This is our country. It is the only one we have. How your country saying you are not a citizen, you don't have entitlement to anything. So more, he can't tell me. We must deal with this pandemic. There are our brothers and sisters who feel or no, now we must not be empowered. Intend by empowered, but we are going to back door. So that's another pandemic that we need to be careful of and manage. Lava can I'm saying more money than we turn pen now empower South Africans shift. That pen can empower South Africans. We want to see a queue of South Africans. Yeah, benefiting. So those are the laws. And the last one that I want to talk to is also the new law that is coming in. And again, we must have an interest in this law. It's called the Business Licensing Bill of 2025. It's introduced by the Department of Small Business Development. This is the law that now gives government the power to license companies. So when the minister and his team called us to come and introduce this piece of legislation, no, I'm excited about this thing. Because now we're going to get our economy back, especially the township economy. From Pakistan, Libaba by controller. Because you cannot give a person a license to operate if it's not the right documents.
Yes.
And I get reborn or bad record. Baba Tsigliba quality to come home affairs. Because they sold those documents cheaply so. So we must use this opportunity then, colleagues, to reclaim our economy. Abduli operate as Paza shop. License yoki ya Mandlovu. Mandlovu, why afana ka license to Abdul to operate as Paza shop? I don't know. Mhlophe waka. Mandlovu tamela re jwetsa ona Abdul o anka ka emma or run a business because ha mo diga. So we must also watch our own people. We complain because one of the policy levers, by the way, is macroeconomic policy instruments. Our macroeconomic policy instruments are there to also try and see how do we get the economy going? How do we create employment? How do we absorb as many people as possible into our economy? How do we re-industrialize our economy? Under industrial policy, we've got things such as localization, where we need to manufacture things locally and stop importing. And then if a person says next door, no, but you are expensive. Yes, that's how you start. Watch how China did it. In the 90s, we had a thriving textile industry. Thriving. They were not close from China. China was still building its capacity. I can't let the quality of it was poor. How can they do a cheaper China now? Because they were still building capacity. They were expensive. They were still getting there. Why are we not giving ourselves any opportunity to also build our capacity? How building capacity is too expensive? Where must you start? Where must you start? If we not say a chance, who's going to give us a chance? Somebody is going to come from somewhere. I love somebody middle class, they're not rooted in anything. Apparently, business are employed, nothing. We cannot do that to ourselves. So we must have a conversation about how do we reindustrialize and how do we give ourselves an opportunity to develop. Yes, I can 50% expensive. Yes, I'm 50% expensive, but invest in me. Technology, machinery, this, that. In 5 years' time, I will be competitive. The same as others. We are not giving ourselves that opportunity. Industrial policy is there. Let's use it. Let's localize. I don't know, most of you will know. The president will stand up, ministers will stand up. Oh, we've got this big infrastructure program. What infrastructure program is? One of making any transmission lines. Okay. All right. No. Where is the benefit going? The benefit is going to those who have influenced the requirements. By the way, one of the issues I raised with the Minister of Electricity, do you even know it? The tender document says those who will be tendering must have a triple A plus rating. You have Moody's. Up some of an everything, they account. You are just getting a finished product here. So you are a consumer. So we must use our macroeconomic policy instruments to also turn the situation around. And under industrial policy, one of them is localization. That we need to do. And colleagues, let us not think of these things are heavy. Only. No. These things kids are wrong. I agree with what you say in the Constitution. We, the people, rule. We. Why are you spending your money? Here are the West. Will you live here and say, no, I'd rather go and buy it in cent because it's like a baking, it's special, bomb me. So if you want it Instagram and so on. When there's a sister, when there's a brother down the road who is selling a similar product, it might not be packaged in a fancy way, but it is still effective. And then they will empower LENNA, I want to affect LENNA, I want to improve our packaging. Yeah. What are we doing about that? We are not only going to blame government for problem solving, which some we can solve amongst ourselves. To relate it even better, forever. Okay, I'm told now. In our businesses, we must see our youth. Other races are employing their youth. How fit are shopping a India? Cannot share about it. Let's hire our own youth. We are not going to make the issue of black youth unemployment an exclusive problem in government. We must also do something tangible to address that. In all respects, community leadership, religious leaders, political leaders, business leaders, hold us accountable. Because if we don't hold each other accountable, nothing happens. Yeah. Even when we go wrong, because you're not going to ask me anything, you are not holding me accountable. Let's hold each other accountable in all spheres of our society. Murut Bible, I often say, the church is the only institution in a community that is for everybody. Yeah. When you walk into a church, keep professor, keep doctor, keep teacher, the business people, we are all there. What are we doing about that? What are we doing about that? Because it is the only institution. I participated in many institutions that are community rooted. The church is the only. That is what all of these people in there. But it's a resource that we are underutilizing. So let's hold our pastors accountable. What are you doing about this vehicle to empower us? So I'm saying. 10% of I'm feeling prefer. Why do you not know money? You see, become more to something. Every forget I forgot. Who's always the call? Come here, man. You see, we've done something. How do you go back and speak to the So we must hold each other accountable in all our spheres. Our leaders must be accountable. So colleagues, as I conclude, a combination of constitutional, legislative and policy response.
Thank you so much for the time.
Let us hold not just the government but each other accountable. I need us to take it all in. Yeah? I need us to take it all in. And I'd like us to do a little bit of speed dating. A little bit of speed dating, Yana. The person you are sitting next to, I need you to say, hello, who are you? Ah, wait, I'm not that. I'm not that. I'm not that. Listen to me. Please listen to me. The person you are sitting next to, make sure you say, colleagues, hello. No, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. I'm not that. You go Spain, Miss Fuller, no? Listen to the full instruction. The person you graduated.
I'm done with that degree. I'm working for the Gauteng Department of Economic Development, and a foundation has been laid by the keynote address. I mean, he said a lot.
Yeah.
And one thing I'm taking away from that keynote address is that we are all collectively responsible. It's not just the government who's going to make it easy. We as government, we play our role in ensuring that policies and legislations are there. But you are the one who needs to influence these policies and legislation. Because if you don't participate in influencing, they're going to come out the way they're coming out. And at the end of the day, as the beneficiary or the implementers of these policies, then you're going to say, but government doesn't think about us as small businesses or as communities. But it still goes back to you to say, what is it that you are doing to ensure that your voice is heard through these policies? The other thing that I'm also wanting to talk about is the issue here. Yes, collectively we are responsible. It's actually something that we were discussing with the speed dating, to say sometimes development is hampered by ourselves because we become gatekeepers of our own development where we come from. You know, when somebody comes up with a project in my community, in my township, for as long as that person doesn't come from that township, the first question that we ask, who is this person? Where is she coming from? Why here and not, hey, and forget hurry. This is for the development of our community that all of us can benefit from. So we need to start thinking around that, because I've seen it with the programs that even government brings. There's a lot of sometimes those programs, they get a blockage from the communities because it's the issue of Mara, this person that they've appointed is not from here. Mara, you are there. The opportunity when it was spoken about, you did nothing about it. Now that somebody's taking it up, then there's issues. Let's leave the politics. My department, our role is basically to promote inclusive growth. They've described what inclusive growth is all about. It's about sustainable job creation. It's also about really inclusivity of everybody and growing the economy together. And how are we doing that as a department? I'm specifically working for a directorate called Inclusive Economy, whereby we're doing BBBE and we're also focusing on SMMEs, cooperative support, and local economic development. So within that, as a department, the department has identified priority sectors to say, what is it that we want to focus on as a department? Because yes, we want to do everything and be everything to everybody, but we need to zoom in and decide what is it that we're going to be focusing on. So 10 priority sectors were identified. Amongst many, we've got hospitality and tourism, we've got construction as one, a green economy. We also have ICT as a trailer. We also retail, what else? Transport and logistics. So there's about 10 of them. I can't remember all of them now, but there's about 10 of them. So there's different programs that have been developed to try and respond to those priority sectors. For example, the retail one. The retail one focuses on empowering or training the spaza shop owners. So what they do in that program is that they will visit that, obviously there was a recruitment process that we went through, and spaza shops were identified where they were assisting them with POS, that is point of sale systems, but also with the buying of stock. This is really to say that the Mofokeng was talking about this spaza shop being taken by my friend. And so in order for us to go back into those shops, because when I grew up, I'm from Harankua, when I grew up, I know this spaza shop were belonging to your mama. You knew what spaza shop say belong to mama, that family. But now when we go into our township, it's normal like that. They belong to the Pakistanis and all that. So in other communities, they are taking them back. But then it becomes the issue already. They don't even have to be able to continue. So that's the other one. The other one, yeah, transport and logistics is really about last mile delivery, where we're training young people between the ages of 18 to 35 to run to be the motorbike drivers, where they are connected via Uber, they take a lot to become that. So that program has got a component here, new venture creation, to say after you've been trained, you can actually start your business, be a business person, you link yourself into this platform here, Uber, where you run your own business on it. And it's so nice that this session happens at the backdrop here by local summit that took place on Monday and Tuesday, which is really about localization. So the enterprise and supply development that we are doing, it's a product that Premier Nisufu, on his state of address, he said 60% of procurement needs to go to township. Then the issue was, do we have SMMEs in the township? We all know the answer is yes. But what is it that they are doing in the township that we can actually use? Because their need is, this is the product, but this, and as an SMME, I don't have money, capacity to do that, because that is expensive. As an SMME, in order for me to access bigger market, I need ISO standards, accreditation, all those stuff. So this program is specifically for that. I'm saying it was conceptualized in 2022, we implemented it in the year 2024. So we started with a very few, it was about 30, and because of not having enough budget, we didn't manage to finish all the 30. So there were those we managed to take them half through the queue. So last year when we got another budget, we decided we're not gonna go all out and recruit. There are people we left hanging, therefore we're gonna start there. So those people that we left hanging, there were about 80. So we've appointed 2 service providers to assist us. One service provider is responsible for the ISO standard and come from. Tina, our role is to come with legislation so that you can be able to participate in that. Over and above and in conclusion is that we also, as a form of enterprise and supplier development, we also are running programs. We used to do them every Wednesday, but because of venues and all that thing, they are no more every Wednesday. So now the way we are running them, it's that we depend on municipalities and perhaps maybe organizations like GATA, LENNA, to say, if you are able to organize us together, we can actually do that. It's a 6 weeks program, because people were also complaining to say they are always in Johannesburg. Other people are coming from different areas that are not able to access that because transport and all those logistics. So it's better if we take them to the communities. So in that 6 weeks program, what we do is to assist the beneficiaries of the program. It's an open invitation, 0 fee. It's not paid, it's run by government. So what we do is to assist people to understand tender documents, because we know, we've seen it, somebody register a company today, tomorrow they want to go into tender. I don't know how you do that, but we've seen it happening. So we try to make them understand how tender works. So we'll use a tender document, an old tender document, where we'll take you through the administration to say, this is, when they say this is what they're expecting you to complete on this. And then the following week, we'll focus on the pricing of that specific tender. And then we also unpack, my number is 076 180 7120. 076 180 7120. Thank you very much.
His work focuses on transforming digital learning and expanding access to high-quality educational experience through technology. He is also the chairperson. He's also the chairperson of the, right behind me, Tourism and and he's not done. He's also our DJ for the day. Thanks so much.
Welcome everyone, how are you doing? I want to thank all the sponsors that are here. Amazing, the attendees. I want to also thank Fika for organizing it, from GATA. Very humble, I must say. She's also, as you know, the president of the South African Women in Business. She's done a lot for community projects, for events and that sort of thing. And obviously everyone attending here, I want to thank you very much for being here. So I wear a few hats, as you can hear. I run a company called CTI Services, which is an AI specialist educational company. It's got online apps and programs and technology implementation. I'm also involved with ETHA as chairperson, the LENNA2026 Tourism Heritage Association, and I'm also, I do DJ stuff. It's actually not DJ stuff, but I help out, in terms of some of our events. I think it's best very often to get really involved. I like to get very involved. So in terms of the panel that I was supposed to be in, my discussion was going to be on AI. Now I was attending, I think, let me just give you a background about myself quickly. I've actually got a master's degree in chemical engineering. So I have been involved as well in sustainable energy and also sustainable projects. As well as I've got a PhD in education, so I'm very, very passionate about education. And I've been involved with the Engineering Council, I've been involved with accreditations. I do a lot of work in upliftment. I did a big project, for example, in the Northern Cape for maths and science. I think that STEM is very important for careers. And I attended an HR conference a few months ago. I was one of the speakers, and I spoke about the obsolescence of careers. Where are we going? Everyone's speaking about SMMEs. What are SMMEs doing? How do you get started? How do you get involved in making money, etc.? Well, it's very easy. You've got to keep up with what people want, what the demand is. And at the moment, everything is talking about AI. Go to any big company now, they say AI. What is AI? Right? So you ask anyone what's AI, they don't know. Important to them as well. But I want to just talk about a project I'm doing where the idea is to uplift the educators as well as the learners. Very often we don't educate the educators. So what happens is the learners get taught wrong, especially in things like maths and science, where there is such a thin line between actually what is truth and what is actually not right. So when they go to exams, etc., the students don't do that well because they've been taught differently. Right. So, thank you. Just taking away my speech. That was going to be my fallback in case I wanted to look at a few points. I don't think I'll just look at a few things, but let me just put this down. Maybe I won't look at it at all. What I wanted to say is this, that we need to keep track of where the careers are going. What careers are becoming obsolete? Where should the new SMMEs be? And I can tell you now, it is around technology.
Yeah.
There's a big field now called smart manufacturing. Fields like, for example, prompt engineers. You know, like AI at the moment, companies will say, what is AI actually can do? What are some of the things? Well, let me give an example of some of the opportunities that are available, okay, in terms of SMEs, in terms of business. One of them is called an AI bot. What the bot does is you put the knowledge base into the bot, you then set it up with prompts, and then that becomes your information portal. For example, if you're now trying to sell energy drinks, right, and energy products, the bot then becomes your portal where you can actually go onto the website, for example, and now you've programmed it, so the prompt knowledge is 360 degree. So you've got cameras, you've got videos. So all you're doing is you're creating a virtual environment, 360 degree environment, and then you can have meetings literally anywhere in the world. You can be sitting on a train or a bus, and then you're having your meetings in a 360 degree environment, and people think you're sitting either in a board meeting or you're sitting in an actual plant, a manufacturing plant. All right, then the other areas are in smart manufacturing. Here you learn the technology. So, for example, you'll say, I'm now going to be doing something in cloning technology. All right? Or I'm going to do something in 3D printing. And 3D printing is also now amazing because now if you take things like parts, which you've got to wait for 6 months to get a part from Korea, you can get it 3D printed in a few minutes. There's another job, right? You can get, tutors, like a lot of teachers, for example, become tutors for students doing extra lessons, right? You don't have to have that anymore. Now you can have your own 24-hour bot that can have the whole syllabus, that can go give you, throw out exams for students, mock exams, and can literally help them going through the exams. And not only that, there's adaptive learning. They adapt to the level of the students, and then once they understand what level they're on, they can then increase that level you need to be successful. And it's very simple. When it comes to a book, one of the books that I read called, and I know I might be going off topic here, but if you want to look at a CEO or a leader what is it that makes you successful, and they say it's my team. It's not just me, it's my team, it's the people I work with. I choose the right people, right? And perseverance is so important because you've got that. Perseverance means you don't give up. A lot of people think entrepreneurs are failures. Why? Because number one, an entrepreneur doesn't have money, right? An entrepreneur generally works from a garage, starts off with nothing, works hard, 24 hours, really strains, struggles, whatever, makes a mistake, fails, and then gets up and carries on, right? Don't think of it like that at all. The true entrepreneurs, I'm doing work with a few multi-billion, I'm talking about dollar billionaires, and I can tell you that these guys are true entrepreneurs. The synergies of where you can help the other person, where the other person needs your help, and then work together. So really what I wanted to just say first of all is good luck today. I wish all of you success in finding the right partners, the right synergies, the right people, and also I wish you success as well in your own ventures and in finding the right pathway now in this new world, this world that we're living in now, full of new technologies, full of excitement, full of amazing things which are going to create now unicorns. People are going to become billionaires literally overnight because of the power that you have in the technology. Utilize that technology. Thank you very much.
Stage is yours.
Oh my goodness.
I'm from Vine Media, which is a black women-owned business, ran as well. We do out-of-home advertising. We offer solutions to clients that grow their business, build their businesses, but focused on the consumer solutions. Normally, businesses would start solutions from the high end. We salute from the bottom end. We give solutions to clients that says, what does the consumer need? How do you get access to the actual person who needs, who can use your product? I'll make an example. BMW, long time ago, used to advertise in Sandton, do everything in the upper class, but come Ekasi on Saturdays, there are our brothers who love it, who are using it, but there is no awareness about it. No one is saying, no one is doing anything in there. What they then started doing, they changed their strategy. They retrained all their staff. Because normally, it's always those who have these nice wigs who will get the beautiful attention. And Tina, the low, and with natural hair, they look at us and like, no, she won't be able to afford it.
Yeah.
So they then changed their strategy and retrained their staff and said, look, let's now take every person who walks into that space as equal. Then they started.
Supplies trading as ZS Uniforms. We're a school uniform manufacturer and retailer based in the best township, which is Tembisa. We're currently supplying 17 schools, so we do all types of school uniforms, tracksuits, tunics, golf tops, you name it. We also have our CSI arm called Dress for Igasi Foundation, where we sponsor learners from previously disadvantaged areas with school uniforms, dignity packs. Love to collaborate. We are ZS Uniforms on all our social media platforms, TikTok, Facebook, and Dress for Igasi as well on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram.
Thank you. Yeah, 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Give you a brief background in terms of what we do, the work that we do as the foundation. We're in the green space. We promote and advocate for environment and the climate. But I think most importantly for what we are here today, we also promote opportunities in the green space. Maybe for example, without really going into the presentation as such, you know, if you were to ask how much Serengeti spend on just landscaping, you'll be shocked.
Yeah.
And that is a sector that, as our fellow black people, we don't take serious. You are classified as a GATA, as all of those things. But I think it's our obligation to obviously highlight those opportunities, and obviously for our colleagues in the township. Dr. Lanz, I'm going to attempt to be philosophical. Look, you see, they say environment is everything. Heredity is nothing. That's from the Greek Basihe. So how I've always operated, and I would want to encourage colleagues that are in the space of business and entrepreneurship, is that you must always find yourself in an environment where there's business people. That's where opportunities are. So you might be born of a doctor, you are not guaranteed a success, but if you are in a good environment, you are most likely to thrive and to be successful. Without wasting any time, colleagues, we are an NPO established in line with the NPO Act. Sorry, I can't see it. In line with the NPO Act 71 of 1997, we are based in Kempton Park. As the foundation, we were established in 2015, so we're averaging about 10 years or so. So if you look into how we are structured, most NPOs and NGOs in the locations they do more social work than any other work. So that's what interested me in the project. For me to get involved is that we offer a unique type of assistance in terms of what we offer as a foundation. I think you can go to the next slide. Our vision is to obviously promote green and healthy communities. Our mission is to grow and support sustainable nation building activities and future without poverty, hunger, environmental degradation throughout participation in environmental conservation and food security and skills development. In actual fact, that is a component that I brought into the foundation to say, in as much as we go into communities, we advocate for the climate and the green space, we also need to upskill and skill our people. Through agricultural accredited training, we actually just did a project between agro-processing. I was speaking to Memole that says she's in the processing space. So we actually train 15 SMMEs. We link them with the market. We link them with Innovation Hub as well, so that they can brand and obviously introduce their products in the market. One example here, the success of Innovation Hub is Koshia App. The ladies would know them. So that is one success that I know. It's a project that I was personally involved in and we are proud of. So I know the importance of that particular space. So for you to process, you need to have a product. You need to grow something for you to be able to process it. So this is where we come in. We train young people in the agricultural training, the agricultural space practices. But the importance of that and where we find limitations is that there is not enough space in the locations for people to grow stuff that they can process. So you will find for you to process something, you need to buy it first, of which it then becomes a cost. You have a cost before you can even produce a product, of which it doesn't make business sense. So this is where now we come in and bridge the gap to say, okay, for you to actually be able to grow something and to be successful, let's secure a space for you first, where you grow these things, you process, and then we introduce it to the market. Colleagues who are based in Kempton Park, that is our head office. We also have social media presence. I think Boutique Green is one of our famous mascots in TikTok. So our focus areas, colleagues, it's in food and agriculture. This is where now we address the food security issue. In township, we buy anything and everything. We buy onions, we buy tomatoes, we buy carrots, things that we can grow ourselves. And then maybe we save whatever little money that we have. We do quite a bit of work in the environmental space, like I indicated. We do water conservation in partnership with various stakeholders like EWCTA. We are also in partnership with AUSESA in training young people in water reticulation, wastewater management, and water conservation. We do quite a bit of skills training as indicated. We now offer skills and accredited skills training. We are forced to go into the plumbing space, Dr. Lance, because now young people don't have a skill. And for you to become a successful entrepreneur, you need to offer a certain skill. Otherwise, you're going to be outsourcing whatever you are buying, whatever the service you're offering. So this is the mismatch between policy and what we're trying to achieve on the ground. So the macro policy does not speak to them, the macro doesn't speak to the micro. That's where we want to bridge the gap. I think our focus deliberately, colleagues, is in township and rural areas. This is where you obviously can waste dumping, GATA, to convert those into food gardens so that communities can sustain themselves. About 2,300 young people in Limpopo through a labor activation program in plant production, animal production, and mixed farming. We do quite a bit of work with Cradle of Humankind to eradicate alien species that has an adverse effect on the environment and the water source, underground water. Clean City Project, this is a partnership between COJ, Tswane, Ekurule, and obviously clean city centers, eradication of illegal waste dumping areas. 1 million trees, a ministerial project. We aim to plant trees to contribute to the national discourse. That is headed by the Deputy Minister. And to biodiversity, rehabilitation of wetlands and rivers. We do quite a bit of work in terms of cleaning rivers and obviously education around that as well. Community Works Program. This is our attempt at trying to create jobs, colleagues. So for participants that would have participated in our programs, they don't just do litter picking. We actually train them in level 1 and 2 landscaping. They do grass cutting. We do new ventures so that by the time they leave there, they are able to start their own small businesses in terms of grass cutting, and they can sustain themselves over and above the project. Legacy Gardens, I saw our colleagues from Old Mutual there. We do have a partnership with them where we donate food gardens to schools. I think we've done 75 now in the 9 provinces. I'll brief you when we are done here. So IDP, this is what the same project as the CWP that we did in Limpopo. So the CWP was national, the IDP was predominantly in Limpopo. What is it? Nkandla rehabilitation. Colleagues, Nkandla is the most poorest rural community. I'm not sure if it's in the country, but I know it is there. So what we're doing there, we're actually conserving water sources, cleaning rivers and all of that stuff. So those are some of the points. These would be the numbers, folks. I'm not going to go deeper into them. You'll see, obviously, that just explains our partnership with the pre-municipalities, waste litter picking in the CBDs and encouraging people to obviously conserve and clean their spaces, their surroundings. We also do a bit of corporate education in terms of segregation of waste, the importance of that, and how that impacts the community and the environment. This is some of the work that we do, colleagues. We do quite a bit of work in primary schools doing environmental work because we feel if you start there, you obviously have greater impact going forward. Putting green plants in tree at least once a month. Are we planting in Serengeti? So you can move, you know. It also does shoe drive for schools. I think this is the last month, but we also partnered with Pick and Pay colleagues to obviously do every Friday or every fortnight. We cook for homes around here. Then there's AXA. We also do carbon credits, colleagues. I think I saw colleagues from Santiago. That is another opportunity that we can take advantage of. Carbon sequestration is a big market now. It's actually financed by the UN. So if you are able to do carbon sequestration, you are able to obviously claim from UN. It's in euros, so it's a lot of money. It's one opportunity you can look into. We are implementing a project with Johannesburg Food Produce Market, Fresh Produce Market, in partnership with Lotto, where we are going to be composting the bio-waste that is causing methane in all the...
My name is Usizwe. I am a owner of a company called Prime Investigations and Recoveries. What we do, I've actually got two businesses, but what we do on this business, we do collections and recoveries on behalf of credit providers. And we are working closely with various institutions. I don't know if those institutions will allow me to disclose who they are, but it's your major institutions. I see one of them, actually two of them, are here today. So we do asset recoveries for them and cash collections. Then the other business, PI Association, it's a cleaning and transportation business where we've just recently acquired a horse and trailer for obviously hauling coal from Piet. We haul coal from there, from a mine to a wash plant, and then it gets processed from the wash plant, and then it goes out for shipment overseas. So that's what I do in my businesses. Thank you so much. How can I be found? You can visit our website at www.primeinvestigations and recoveries. My contact details are 083-798-1192. And then my email address is smsada, so it's sugar, mother, sugar, alpha, delta.
Because we have come to a stage where we must also be creators of employment to our businesses than all of us seeking employment.
Yeah.
But people, let us speak this truth so that it's even a way forward proper. When it comes to SMMEs, the so-called small, medium, micro enterprises, majority of them, they don't live to see their second birthday. Meaning, majority of them, after 1 year, they fail and collapse. That is a painful picture that we have. Because even those that have lived or survived their first birthday, they don't live beyond 5 years. 80% of them, they fail and collapse. What is it that we must want to have a panel so that we have a dialogue? But whatever that I will be asking them some few questions in Zokabela and Mapalin, it would also be open to the audience, because I'm very much happy. All of us will have an experience of the taxi industry, previously, even currently. So people from Santaco, which is the taxi association.
I'm from the National Office of the South African National Taxi Council. It's not an association. An association is the lowest structure within the work we do. I'm from the national office. I'm the national spokesperson and communications manager. I understand that the leadership of the region of Ekurhuleni had confirmed to attend. So Speaker, you know that they care about the work you do, hence the national office is here. So the taxi industry, like you rightly said, transports the majority of South Africans on a daily basis. We are the backbone of public transport. But however, the billions that you're speaking about are generated by sole proprietors, not cooperatives. So the money is going to individual taxi operators. Rebecca could have 4 cars, Tembi could have 10 cars, but the money goes to individuals. These are individuals who do not have the most advanced literacy levels. So these are people who just responded to a need for mobility and transportation and bought vehicles and got into a business. At the back of the COVID-19 pandemic, the taxi industry faced an incredible challenge in that people stopped going to work as frequently, but more than anything, you guys now use Checkers 60 and whatever else to get your groceries at your store, at your doors, I should rather say. And e-hailing started to become prominent because people appreciate convenience. But it also came at a time when the taxi industry had been practically enjoying a lot of latitude in being the preferred mode of transport. And you could very well say that the pandemic came as a very rude awakening. There was not much competition. The rail system has long collapsed and things of that sort. So the taxi industry had not fully prepared itself for the commuter needs of the future, the commuters of present day who don't want to have to argue about changing a 20 rand note in the morning when they can pay with their Apple Pay and just listen to music or a podcast without talking to people. So what's happened is equally, government in this country has always subsidized public transport in the form of rail and buses. So PATCOs, the BRTs that you see moving people, whether they are full or not, they've got a starting capital that they get from government, which is fixed, so they don't have to worry about a lot of the financials. And despite all of this, the taxi industry has remained the foremost transport of South Africans, and yet for one reason or another, government just does not want to subsidize the industry. As a result of that, the colleagues from OEMs and the banking sector will tell you that taxi operators are now struggling to pay for their vehicles' monthly fees. Also, the industry is an incredible risk. You pay for a quantum, at least something between 12 to 15,000 rand. That's excluding of insurance and everything else that you need to pay for, and still pay for your driver and put food on your family's table. So the taxi industry, to answer your question, moderator, did not prepare for the future commuter needs. It was hit by the COVID-19 pandemic and is struggling to recover. But the taxi industry equally has been failed by government, because we all know that every time taxis decide not to operate for a day, the economy of this country suffers greatly. In light of all of this, for now, we'll answer the question of your panel, which is talking to solutions of business that business can bring to the taxi industry. Because in the beginning when I started, I said to you, the taxi industry was started by a collective of entrepreneurs who did not necessarily have the most advanced literacy skills, but just were responding to a need. So to answer your question, you would have heard some 2 years back that the taxi industry introduced something called Shesha, an e-hailing platform that moves still, especially in Ekurhuleni, that was meant to effectively challenge Uber, Bolt, and the like. But because, again, of that literacy issue that I spoke to you about, you saw the industry in some facets wanting to practically compel people to use Shesha services, as opposed to using all these other established platforms. The problem with that is once you're forced to uptake something, then you're going to reject it. So we didn't see it take up as quickly as possible. But what the taxi industry is doing now is, one, we are corporatizing our taxi associations to move from operating as sole proprietors, because unfortunately for as long as we're a collective and yet we're all working as individuals, then the money, as you would put it collectively, is billions, but we never really see it because it goes to individual pockets. That's the first thing we're doing. Secondly, we are introducing automated fare collection systems. So many people would know the concept of Himalaya Sogis, where a driver does not expose the owner of the entirety of the money that they would have collected throughout the day. So they take a bulk of the money, effectively literally put it in the sock, and give the owner whatever little that's left, and still demand a cut of that, which contributes to that challenge of being shortchanged in terms of the money. Clearing house, and SARS plays a role in that particular regard. Many people have been saying the industry is evading taxes, so I hope that it answers that question. So that is one of the things that we're doing, and we could already tell you, it started last year in September. Vehicle owners in that route are saying they're making 3 times the money that they've ever seen, because the money is no longer there anymore, and then they're able to pay sufficiently but also make ends meet, if you will. That's just one of the things that we're doing. There's also book a seat that we're doing for long distance travel, where people can now book for trips as opposed to spending the whole day at Oakmore, not knowing what the taxi
Previously,
Sure.
very short.
So the reputation of the taxi industry is not the greatest. It's not the greatest. I can tell you for free, I'm spokesperson, so I have been attempting to clean up, at least to a certain extent. But the reality of the matter is a great deal of the manner in which the perception is because we've got the black South Africans that the keynote speaker spoke of earlier, who now stay in Serengeti, and suddenly want to pretend they don't understand why the taxi driver is driving on the yellow lane. When they were still in school and their parents were still domestic workers, they would want the driver to drive as fast as possible, because as a black African who's a domestic worker, if I get to work late, the madam is going to fight and I might just lose the job and miss out on feeding my family. So the biggest challenge that the taxi industry is having perception-wise is that black South Africans now have access to Twitter and TikTok, and they have been exposed to requesting rides on their phones, and they suddenly make it seem like they don't understand why drivers are behaving in the manner that they're behaving. And I want you to hear me properly. I'm not justifying ill behavior. What is being done, for instance, by patrollers who tell you you can't transport people in your private vehicle and they beat you up is incredibly wrong. And that's why you would have heard Santako say, let's call the police, and let's also ask the police, why are so many people being violated around this industry, and yet you never hear nothing? Are these cases being investigated? No. But the same black people who've been transported by the taxi industry are quick to say, they are regrettable, they don't want to move with the times, forgetting that it's the very same industry that continues to enable for black people to move with ease, for black people to get to work on time. That's why I'm saying, rather come and let's rescue this 1 million followers. And there's a blue taxi that they post every day. They're saying it's become prominent. Nobody wants to know, why is this owner still transporting people in this aged vehicle as if they don't value the taxi industry that puts money on their table and feeds their families? You can't wake up and just decide to say, I'm going to move people in a dilapidated vehicle that could kill them just because I want the money. There's just no way. So I'm saying in closing, the only thing that's going to rescue the image of the taxi industry is for black Africans in this room to remember that it's the taxi industry that is theirs. It does not belong to a Rebecca, it does not belong to a Mkonza from Ivory Park. It's the taxi industry of the black South Africans and the greater South Africans, and we need to all collectively work together to make it work. Because if the taxi industry were to not work tomorrow, Uber and Bolt are not South African inventions. They could up and go tomorrow, and we're all going to feel the burn.
Thank you very much.
Before I touch the other areas that you've asked. So from a staffing solutions point of view, we've partnered with Santako, and we provide financial literacy for starting from head office and to the drivers. The challenge is that there is no time in order to do that. So we've also done that via our FNB app, where you can actually go in there, and we've partnered with Udemy, where you can go on there and actually do financial literacy. Why is financial literacy important? Like my counterpart has mentioned here, that many people start businesses, but at the end of the day, you don't go anywhere. Why? Because you are not making informed financial decisions. You know, you don't understand budgeting. You get facilities from the bank and you misuse them and abuse them. Why? Because no one taught you how to manage debt. So we help to manage debt. We help to free up cash flow in terms of availing various investment options. And why is that important? Because once you have now done financially, statistics say that when a South African receives their funds, within the next 3 days, that salary is gone. And now, can you imagine someone that's getting paid daily and they know that they've got children to feed? It adds to that rage that it's on the road. Not only from a taxi perspective, but even individuals such as ourselves when we're facing challenges. And how do we solve for that? Like I said, we provide free financial literacy training at no cost to any company or any SMME. And we do that because we go through it. For example, if I can ask here, when was the last time you looked at your own personal bank statement? You're not even aware what's going on in your account. And the last thing is to cry foul when you are now on a minus and you want to know where did that money go. When there are other people that are taking your money, because sometimes we sign up for things on the road, and when things go south, then you want to question these things. I don't know if I've answered the question to the fullest.
No, you did, but I wanted to ask even more, but for the sake of time, we will go to Abantu Baba Toyota. That will be one question and one question only. People from Toyota, now to this day. And we all know how the government, our government, have shortchanged the taxi industry, being a big player in terms of not subsidizing them like other mode of transport, like lama buses and stuff like that. They are being actually subsidized by the state. So Nina and Toyota, what have you done to give back to them?
Yes, I'm always waiting. My name is Muniwal from Motors Toyota, Captain Park. I have been repossessed a vehicle on one question. Okay, let me come there. Before implementation of the new policy, in a month, I have to sell more than 60 to 70 mini taxi. But now, as they implemented the policy which the association are not aware, and the member license is not aware, I have to go with the people from Eastern Cape to national transport to lay, and then we meet Dr. Bafana and Sam Tsweli, who are the managers for taxi industry. And then all of them, they said they are not aware for this implementation of bearing our clients, because they cannot help. What about if you die because there's no one who's got guarantee of life, and then in other ways you lose the benefit of taxi ownership because there's no one. And the problem, the hidden problem is again, if I want to get out from taxi industry, you want to sell your permit. The one who going to buy the permit from you, he can't get finance. That's a problem. In other words, taxi industry is dying, is slowly dying, because the bank, they cannot finance. And another thing, to a passenger vehicle for five-seater, they can finance to 96 or to 84 months. But on taxi, they cannot do that. Why? Because the people, my clients, they cannot afford to pay 18,000. It's 18,000. How can he pay 18,000? That's too much. Because they give them 6 years to pay. Or 5 years. That's too much. That is why there's a huge repossession, because they're not interesting. All the banks, MFC, which is Nedbank, ABSA, Standard Bank, FNB, which is TFS. I cannot smile when my clients get repossessed. Remember, these people, they're not rich. They just only to make a living. It's from head to mouth. That's it. But how can you?
We all know and understand that, like our main speaker said, that in the South African context, there is a big shortage of skills in many industries. And there's a big shortage of skilled individuals to help build the economy. So in the artisanal skills or trades, we have found that this shortage is even more dire or bigger. And then for most of our education system, it's not necessarily hands-on based or technical based. It's very theory-based training. Then that's how EC Technocentric Varsity came about. We are previously known as Ekurhuleni Artisans and Skills Training College, and we branded last year to EC Technocentric Varsity. So, who are we? We are a company that has been in existence for 20 years now, so we do have quite a good track record. We are a progressive Pan-African institution that is dedicated to advancing employable skills through practical, industry-based training. And we comprise of three main entities: the main college, which is the EC Technocentric Varsity, the upcoming entity, which is the East Tech University. We are going to launch this program next year. We are currently doing the accreditation with the Department of Higher Education and also with the Council for Higher Education, CHE. And we also now in the basic education space, where we are saying that we are not just building a pipeline for EC to train artisans, but also taking care of all kids and not leaving everyone behind who might not be educationally best. Now we are going to train everyone in technical skills. So this is basically our three entities: our artisanal college, which focuses on short skills programs, learnerships, apprenticeships, and we also custom make training programs. Our tech varsity or university, which will be giving higher certificates and degrees, and also the technical school, which has a CAPS curriculum from grade up to grade 12. Our first crop of grade 12s will be next year. So after we get a 100% pass rate, we want to see your kids at our schools. So in our DNA, we are accredited with the BRICS Business Council in terms of the skills training programs. We do exchange programs with China, we do exchange programs with India, and we've got a lot of programs that are coming up that we are partnering with a lot of the BRICS countries. We have a wide range of programs and courses. I think we are accredited with the CETAs and on QCTO on 28 trades, over 146 course programs. And to date, we have trained over 100,000 artisans. Currently, our main campus in total in Gauteng and Limpopo and Eastern Cape, we are having 5,200 learners. And our main campus has got 3,090 of those learners. We are a level 1 BBEE contributor and also a 100% female-owned business. And yeah, we are fully accredited, not just with the DHET, but with QCTO and also a number of CETAs, I think with 9 CETAs in total. So why should people or businesses choose to train with EC? We have a good track record. It's now 20 years since we've been in the industry. We have over 26 trades. over 146 course programs and a number of broken down programs within those 146 programs. We are fully accredited with over 10 seaters, and also we equip with workable industry-ready skills. Our top 10 trades include solar, they include electrical, plumbing, bricklaying, motor mechanics, and aircon and refrigeration. So of these 26 programs that we are accredited with, these are the top 10 that we do provide. And we now can do trade testing for plumbing, for bricklaying, and solar. Go ahead. What does EC bring to as solutions to businesses and companies? So we do bring skills development solutions, like what our keynote speaker was saying. We train based on this WSP or annual training report of a business. So you can always link your training to your WSP, and then you apply for funding from various SETAs or the SETAs that you're actually paying levies to. And EC will become your training provider for those skills. We also do assist companies with SETA funding application assistance, because we know for most of the part, people are not very well versed in all of these dynamics. So when discretionary grants are coming out, when you have a special project that you actually want to implement within your company, we are here to assist, and we also partner with you to be the training provider for the specific skills that you're applying for. We also do assist with training for CSI initiatives. I know a lot of companies in terms of compliance, they are mandated to train for CSI, training the economy, and also if you are going to do triple BEE, it's also a part of that where you have to train, where you have to do skills development for the community, not just your employees, but also for the community. We also do assist with clients or with companies with doing the ETI or training that is linked to ETI. ETI is simply employee tax incentives, whereby you are employing graduates and they are in your payroll and you get a certain tax deduction from employing and paying graduates in your payroll. And then we also do offer custom-made training solutions. So you come to us, you say you specifically want to train your graduates maybe in ICT, then we'll show you the MICT accreditations that we have and the programs that we can actually train within that. A summary of our accreditations, we did not necessarily put in all the SETAs and partners that we are accredited with, but we would love to become a strategic partner within your businesses, associations, and everything else in skills development. Thank you so much.
Hold your peace, because we are done here. We are going to close, and then we're going to take a walk and go see the cars from Toyota. Next. A free ride. Oh, okay.
My name is Musa Vukem, and I'm the National Sales Manager for a division within the bank called Staffing Solutions, and we pride ourselves with financial literacy. Why are we doing this? We want to ensure that the staff within the companies, the staff within the corporates, the staff within each and every SME are making informed financial decisions. So we've got this consumer education program, which is absolutely free. And when we mean free, we mean free. You know, there's always that question to say, but what's the catch? There is no catch. In fact, you stand to benefit more than just what we have. So what we do for your business, your SMME, will come out to you and will teach them from budgeting, drafting a budget, from managing their debt, how can they pay off their debt quicker, the difference between secured and unsecured debt, and we then go into growing their money, because these two elements will allow you to unlock cash flow. So once cash flow is unlocked, that's when we have savings and investment vehicles that, you know, speak to you as a person or as a company. And once we've then done that, We also protect the things that matter. For example, in the South African context, especially in the black community, we find people that are over-covered when it comes to funeral cover, but they don't have a life cover. So you find that someone passes away, FNB in combination with Standard Bank and Old Mutual, we can only pay up to 100,000 rands, for example. And what happens to the rest of the funds? And you find that the funds that you have, you are able to take funeral cover up, but what happens to your child when, are they able to continue to live the life that you have planned for them beyond your existence? And with leaving a legacy behind, that's when, some of us here, we've got vehicles that we purchased cash, we've got those expensive earrings, you've got that dinner set. I'll speak for myself when it comes to this, and I'll give you a practical example. In 2021, I lost my mom in December. And when my mom passed away, in the black community, what normally happens during the course of the week, people come and they visit you, they come to mourn with you, right? And my mom has an older sister, which we still love very much. But, when she came on a Thursday, you could see the first thing she did, she went to the kitchen, she was opening the cupboards, checking what's there, and we had the funeral. After the funeral, she came and sat us down and said, going to be able to have continues being on speaking terms with my brother and the family around us. And she went and drafted her own will, and in the will there were MC pots. In the will, the Tupperware were there. In the will, those unopened dinner sets that were waiting for the pastor, which I'm also a pastor, by the way, outside of work. So what did they mean? And to close it off, what then happened is that me and my brother were able to share some of these things in between ourselves, which means we stopped the sibling rivalry. For example, do you have a will?
Yes.
You've got some things that you've bought cash. You've got that car that you've bought cash, that expensive sneaker. I was seeing Ubaba Lapia with the shirt. That shirt, I can tell you now, is very expensive. And should something happen in various government institutions, we're already working with GATA, LENNA, we're already working with various institutions. So what we then do is we start you off with 6 months free banking. So what does 6 months free banking look like? That account fee that goes off? Let's assume, so we're going to do mental maths. Let's assume it's 200 rands. So for the first 6 months, when that 200 rand goes off, we're going to reverse it. So you're banking at absolutely free for the first 6 months. What else are we doing for you? You've got staff within your corporates. We've got staff within your businesses. And what normally happens when the breadwinner who works in that company dies? They come to you as the owner and say, you have to help us out. Bury this person. Now you are taking funds from your cash flow to fund a funeral. FNB is partnering with you to say that when an employee takes up funeral cover, we'll cover them for the first 3 months, they won't pay a cent. So when we do mental maths again, funeral cover, we like to cover our uncles, our aunts, even those ones that are problematic at home. So let's assume you've covered everyone for 300 rands. Means that we're giving you back 900 rands, which is practical. FNB Connect, when I was coming into Serengeti, I had no network. I don't know if anyone else had that issue. You did, right? But guess what? I was connected because I've got FNB Connect. The interesting thing about the house that is being sold at that point in time, it says deceased estate. Ever seen that on a board? Yeah. Deceased estate. Do you know what really happens when it gets to that portion? It's when you have a will and you've got life covers that have paid out. But now the challenge is the bank is looking for its money. Or there is a creditor that you owe of some debt, and they coming after you. And because now you cannot pay because you are deceased, they now want the house to be sold in order to recover the funds. And that's why sometimes we find people that are on the street. So we've got a cover that covers for those nuances. So when you draft a will, you can also say, I want this cover, to say it must cover all the legal fees that have to take place so that my kids, my family, can continue to live free. With West Bank, back to cars again, 0.25% on your personalized rate, and if you're on private wealth, like some of you, we'll give it to a prime -1. Credit card, we can give you back up to 3% on your personalized rate. So which means when you take up a credit card, we'll give you back 3%. On your personal loan, it's 2%. Have you ever heard of eFlisp or First Home? We work hand in hand with FLISP or First Home, which is backup for water. FNB is saying for your first installment, we're going to give you back 61,000 e-bucks, which is 6,100 rands for you to buy groceries, to pay for electricity. Last but not least, we've partnered with various partners such as Pick and Pay, where you can get a loaf of bread for 99 cents. On-site service model, you don't go to the bank wants to come to you. All you need to do is give us access to your staff at no disturbance to the business so that we can have those discussions with you. We also have regular visits, and we have one-on-one engagement where you download your statement and we go through it line by line. You know, like the man of God would say, line by line, precept by precept. And last but not least, we have a clear communication strategy, which means before we come, we set up, we plan, and we curate an experience. So what do we mean by curating an experience? We're not just going to come there and open accounts. We're going to come there, bring a popcorn machine. We're going to come there, bring some material to then issue out to some of your staff members so you can speak to me. And if you want to open an account today, we've got two beautiful ladies and a gentleman there at the back that are waiting for you. Thank you so much.
I've got one more person from Travel Narine who wants to speak about it.
We are hosting a golf day on the 5th of May, right here at Serengeti. For more info, please just see me. I'll give you a business card so that you know how to contact us. Or you can just go on any socials. We are travelnarina.com. Thank you. Please come.
And the cosmetics, the actual flagship brand or name is Sibahle Core. So under Sibahle Core, we've got Sibahle Wellness, and then we've got the cosmetics. So under the wellness space, we host annual women's seminars. This year we are having our 5th annual seminar. Last year we had about 120 women. This year we are going for 150. Yeah, one of the brands says Sibahle because we're beautiful. So with that, I'm going to do the raffle, and I want to say thank you so much, everyone, for coming through to today's event. It was absolutely amazing. The connects were great. I hope you at least made one connect, that you're able to follow up with. If you do want to get hold of us, we're there. My husband is there. I'm here. Do come through, smell the products. Yeah, I'm coming in. So we keep testing, and then we're going to do a drum roll.
Can I? Yes, please. Okay.
Drum roll!
LENNA2026 from East. Yes.
We're being fair to who's in the room.
Yes. Why am I?
again.
Isn't that nice?
No,
Wow.
that is a different person.
It's a different person.
Oh. And they are ready. Drum roll.
Tembitala.
Tembitala,
It's going to my wife.
Yes.
It's going to my wife.
Pampering.
Yes.
Thank you. You are done? Okay. What's about?
Oh, angifaka mo Japan.
Ala, last little bit.
Thank you. Why stand up next to me?
One more.
Chisuke simbambe ikhadi liwa.
I received table from other businesses. Wow. So sesiyavala manje, sayichukucha later.
Yeah.
Next time when we meet.
Yeah.
So sicela ukuvala manje, and then but we're going to do exhibition walkabout. So we're going to sizohamba ubaba Usem Munayi wane. Usem So we can go now.
Hi everyone, my name is LENNA2026 and I was the program director for today. What an absolutely beautiful event that we had today, stakeholders engagement session. I just want to say thank you to Sisfiga for hosting us. It was absolutely an amazing session. To all the connects, all the businesses that came through, all the partners, all the sponsors, may God continue to enrich you guys and just hold your businesses to the most high. I just want to say thank you for this opportunity, allowing me to run the program today. It was absolutely amazing. Serengeti, you did the things. We're looking forward to the next engagement that will be taking place. We're ready. My name is LENNA2026 and I am from Iswaha because we are beautiful. Thank you.
Okay, are you ready? 1, 2, 3, action.
Hi everybody, this is Kusha Muleko from Travel Narine. Today we had Serengeti. We had a very great experience with GATA and all the stakeholders. Thank you for the event. We really had fun. We got to network, to know so many things, and we are grateful to many more events to come. Thank you for joining us.
Action.
Greetings, Sanbonani Absheni Dumelangi. My name is Ntombazonta Shabalala, and I was also a part of this beautiful, impactful and informative event, GATA Stakeholders event hosted by Mfika. It was a very beautiful event, I do not want to lie. However, I would have loved to see more youth being part of this event because it had more people with more opportunities and the room was full of opportunities. I'd like to see such events happening month to month, however, hosted for the youth. With that being said, thank you.